Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 9, The Dynasty of Amshuman, text number 45. Devaihi Kamavaro Datta Devai Kamavaro Datta Devai Kamavaro Datta Mahyam Tribhuvaneshwaraihi Mahyam Tribhuvaneshwaraihi Mahyam Tribhuvaneshwaraihi Na Vrine Tam Aham Kamam Na Vrine Tam Aham Kamam Na Vrine Tam Aham Kamam. Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha Devai Kamavaro Datta Mahyam Tribhuvaneshwaraihi Navrinetamaham Kamam Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha Devai Kamavaro Datta Mahyam Tribhuvaneshwaraihi Navrinetamaham Kamam Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha Kamavaro Datta Navyam Tribhuvaneshwaraihi Navrinetamaham Kamam Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha Devai Kamavaro Datta Mahyam Tribhuvaneshwaraihi Navrinetamaham Kamam Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha Devaihi, by the demigods, Kamavaraha, the benediction to have whatever he wanted. Dattaha was given, Mahyam unto me, Tribhuvana Ishwaraihi, by the demigods, the protectors of the three worlds, who can do whatever they like within this material world. Na vrine, did not accept. Tam, that. Aham, I. Kamam, everything desirable within this material world. Bhuta bhavana bhavanaha, being fully absorbed in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore not interested in anything material. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. The demigods, the directors of the three worlds, wanted to give me whatever benediction I desired. I did not want their benedictions, however, because I am interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created everything in this material world. I am more interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead than in all material benedictions. Please repeat this translation after me. The demigods, the directors of the three worlds, wanted to give me whatever benediction I desired. I did not want their benedictions, however, because I am interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who created everything in this material world. I am more interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead than in all material benedictions. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A devotee is always transcendentally situated. Param drishtva nivartate. One who has seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead is no longer interested in material sense enjoyment. Even such an exalted devotee as Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest for the sake of material benefit. But when he actually saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he refused to accept any material benediction. He said, Swamin kritarthosmi varam na yache. My dear Lord, I am fully satisfied with whatever you have given me or not given me. I have nothing to ask from you, for I am fully satisfied to be engaged in your service. This is the mentality of a pure devotee who does not want anything material or spiritual from the Personality of Godhead. Our Krishna consciousness movement is therefore called Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha. Krishna Bhavanamrita Sangha, the association of persons who are simply satisfied in thoughts of Krishna. Being absorbed in thoughts of Krishna is neither expensive nor troublesome. Krishna says, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me. Bhagavad Gita 9.34. Anyone can always think of Krishna without difficulties or obstacles. This is called Krishna Bhavanamrita. One who is absorbed in Krishna Bhavanamrita has no material benefits to ask from Krishna. Instead, such a person prays to the Lord for the benediction of being able to spread His glories all over the world. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahaituki tvayi. A Krishna conscious person does not even want to stop his cycle of birth and death. He simply prays, I may take birth as you like, but my only prayer is that I may be engaged in your service. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is a very interesting verse. This is the thinking of Khatwanga Maharaj. When he was offered, take whatever benediction you want. We are very pleased with you. You helped us win the battle against the Asuras. So, what is the kind of thinking that a person like Khatwanga Maharaj has? This is very important because even if we can observe a person externally and even try to understand him from his activities, we cannot easily understand what is his mind. It is very difficult to understand what is his mind. And more important than just reading his mind is to understand what is his thought process. The thought process is something which is connected with the heart, the core of one's being. A yogi may have a siddhi that he can read others' mind. There are some people who are called mind readers. If you go and sit in front of them, they'll tell, I can read your mind. But that is not what is being described here about Khatwanga Maharaj, about his thinking. Not what he is thinking. More importantly, what is the kind of thinking that he has based on his value system. That's why in the previous verse it was explained by Shukadev Goswami that previous two verses, Khatwanga Maharaj thought. What did he think? Not even my life is dearer to me than the Brahmanical culture and the Brahmanas who are worshipped by my family. What then is to be said of my kingdom, land, wife, children, opulence? Somebody not interested in any of such things of this category, kingdom, land, wife, children, opulence, not even his own life, What interest will he have in the material benedictions that these demigods want to offer? Of course, somebody may think that he is not found satisfaction in the opulences that can be had in this earth planet, because the demigods enjoy a higher standard than people on the earth. So if he is not satisfied with this, maybe he desires to have the facilities on the heavenly planets. So if that is his desire, the demigods are ready to give that. They can award that. But it is being made clear that even his own prana, that is not dearer to him than the Brahmanical culture and the Brahmanas. Brahmanas means here it is referring to Brahmana Vaishnava, the devotees, the pure devotees. So, pure devotees and the culture of devotional service is very, very, very dear to him. That means he himself is a pure devotee. He himself is a pure devotee. So therefore, for a pure devotee, that is being explained here in this 45th verse, that the demigods, the directors of the three worlds, they can offer some material benedictions, that's all. They cannot offer anything within their power. It's not possible for them to offer something spiritual, some spiritual benediction or some spiritual benefit. They cannot offer. So therefore, when they were asking him that you can take any benediction that you want, Khatvanga Maharaj, being a pure devotee, understood what is their position and what they are capable of giving. And his thinking, his conception of what is the best or the topmost is entirely different than any other person of this world. His thinking is that of a pure devotee who understands the worthlessness of everything in this material world, which is materially enjoyable. Even the position of Brahma. So Bhagavatam reveals this very great secret, that devotees, they are not simple desireless people. They are very, 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 very intelligent. They are super intelligent. This word is used in many places in the Bhagavatam. Manishinaha, Prajna, Kavi. These are the words that are used for devotees. Even Krishna is described as Kavi in the 9th verse of the 8th chapter. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anoraniyamsam. Like that. So Kavi means very, very thoughtful. Another meaning is Kavi means very, very intelligent. Prajna means very, very intelligent. Manishi means very intelligent. So devotees are very intelligent because they understand what is the value of anything that is there in this material world. Whether it be material opulences or material position or material power or material possessions, they're all worthless. They're all worthless. Everything will be finished when pralaya comes. Krishna says in very, very simple way, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. Mrityu, death, same as pralaya. Similar in sense as pralaya. Destruction. So everything will be taken away, everything will be lost, everything will be destroyed, everything will be finished. Antavattu phalam tesham tad bhavati alpamedhasam. See, very beautifully in the Bhagavad Gita, everything is explained. If somebody cares to properly study or read or hear the Bhagavad Gita, that's why one has to hear from the Acharya, like Prabhupada. Antavattu phalam tesham, regarding whatever the demigods can award their worshippers. Because Krishna says, Kamaistaiste hrutagyana. Less intelligent people, they worship demigods because they are having lusty desires. Lusty desires mean desire for material enjoyment in different ways. Devotees are akama. Akama. They do not have material desires because their desire is to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, engage in His devotional service. Akama. So they don't have any material desires. They are free from all material desires. So such devotees, they are not interested in any material benediction. So there are prayers by pure devotees like Vritrasura. He prayed to the Supreme Lord, Nanaka Prishtam Nacha Sarvabhaumam Narasadipatyam Naraparameshtyam Na Yoga Siddhim Apunarbhavam Va. 6 different things he is telling, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want. Because a devotee always is under the shelter, protection, care of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Supreme Personality of Godhead, He is the best benedictor, the Supreme benedictor among all benedictors. Varadeshwara, Prahlad Maharaj addresses Supreme Lord. You are the Supreme benedictor. So when Narsimdev asked, what do you want? So Prahlad Maharaj could have asked anything. But he said, I don't want anything. Prabhupada gives the example of Dhruva Maharaj. That we should always remember the position of a pure devotee is that he is always transcendentally situated. That's the beginning of the purport. The, the purport of this verse, which is describing his thinking process, his thought process, that he is not interested in any of the benedictions that the demigods can offer. Because of his interest in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, how is this interest in the Supreme Personality of Godhead present in the pure devotee? Because of the devotee always being situated in the transcendental position. That is described in the Bhagavad Gita in 2nd chapter as Param Drishtva Nivartate. Param Drishtva. One who has seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Here, seeing doesn't mean like the way we see in the material world. In the material world, seeing means it is a partial experience of one of the aspects of something that can be some object that is there or something which is there. I am seeing you doesn't mean I am able to necessarily recognize you or understand you or relate with you or know you. Seeing is just one aspect in the material world. We have 5 senses, and out of these 5 senses, the ability to see or the faculty of seeing is just one of the senses. But when it is said one can, who has seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this particularly refers to realization, because one cannot see the Supreme Lord with these eyes. One cannot see the Supreme Lord with these present eyes. Neither we can adjust our seeing power just like if somebody sees a particular thing in a microscope, right? Then without knowledge, background of knowledge, that seeing is useless. Supposing they take a blood smear of a patient who is infected with some germs, then a microbiologist will see under the microscope that blood smear, and they'll say, oh, there is germs, cholera germs or typhoid germs. Say, oh, person has got a infection, typhoid infection. But somebody else may also see the same eyes, the same object, the blood smear under the microscope. They can see, but they can't make out anything of it. That seeing is useless. So, seeing with the background of knowledge is another kind of seeing with the same eyes. But when it comes to seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even when He appears, so does it mean with these eyes, if somebody is seeing Krishna with a background of knowledge, will they be able to see? No. Even with the background of knowledge, they cannot see the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Means they cannot know that here is the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of God. Just like the Jnanis or the Yogis, they have knowledge of the Absolute Truth. if they are realized, the Brahman feature or the Paramatma feature. When Krishna appears, Bhagavan Vishnu appears, Bhagavan Krishna appears, Bhagavan Narsimha appears, Bhagavan appears. They'd certainly see him. Everybody can see him. So, of course, the materialistic persons, they are ignorant. So, they cannot recognize Bhagavan. They are ignorant about the absolute truth. But there are people who are knowledgeable about the absolute truth, but their knowledge is incomplete. Which means that they don't have knowledge of the Bhagavan feature of the absolute truth. Therefore, when they see Bhagavan, either they are unable to recognize the person who has appeared as the Supreme Personality of Godhead or Absolute Truth, Supreme Absolute Truth, or they may see Bhagavan as Brahman, a Brahmajyoti, or they may see Bhagavan as Paramatma, the Super Soul. When Krishna entered the wrestling arena of Kamsa, there's a beautiful verse that describes how different people saw Krishna. How different people saw Krishna. 10 different ways in which it is described different people saw Krishna. So they were seeing Krishna according the devotees. They see him according to their relationship with him. But those who are non-devotees, among them, the materialists, they were seeing Krishna as the foolish and ignorant people, seeing him as an incapable boy. What is he going to do entering the wrestling arena, foolish fellow? He's going to be finished off. Why is he going to the wrestling arena? And then the Kamsa was always thinking that the 8th son of Devaki will be the cause of my death. So always thinking of Krishna in fear. When he saw Krishna entering the wrestling arena, he saw him as death personified. He saw him as death personified. So, the Jnanis, realized Jnanis, they saw him as Brahmajyoti. The realized yogis, Ashtanga yogis, they saw him as the Super Soul. Only the devotees were able to see him as Krishna. Only the devotees. So, here when Krishna says, Param Drishtva Nivartate, it is referring to a Sthita-prajna. Isn't it? It's coming in that section. Which is the verse? Param Drishtva Nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya deinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Krishna is describing a Sthita Prajna on Arjuna's inquiry. What are the characteristic symptoms, behavior, etc. of a self-realized soul, of a completely self-realized soul. This is coming after the section of Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga same as Bhakti Yoga. So self-realized means self-realized by practice of Bhakti Yoga. A self-realized devotee. So such a self-realized devotee, Param Drishtva Nivartate. Here Param refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead is realizing Krishna as the Supreme Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. Such a realized soul, such a realized devotee is no longer interested in material sense enjoyment. This is very easy to understand. He has realized what is Krishna, who is Krishna. Why will he be interested in any material sense enjoyment? And that's what happened to Dhruva Maharaj, even though he went to the forest and performed severe austerities for the sake of material benefit. But when he actually saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he refused to accept any material benediction. He said, Swamin Kritarthosmi Varam na yache. I don't want any benediction. That's the exact thinking of Khatvanga Maharaj, that he is not interested in any material benediction which the demigods are offering. Therefore, he is not accepting any. So, Prabhupada says that this is the mentality of a pure devotee who does not want anything material or spiritual. Prabhupada is clarifying that demigods can offer some material benediction. Krishna can also offer spiritual benedictions. And what are the spiritual benedictions that Krishna offers? He can give 5 types of liberation. Because only Krishna can give liberation. Mukti pradata sarvesham Vishnureva na samshayaha. Only Vishnu can give mukti. But mukti, there are 5 types of mukti. Which people generally do not know. So, Bhagavatam describes 5 kinds of liberation. Of which, generally what people know or think about in terms of liberation, if there is some knowledge, they think of only Sayujya Mukti, the liberation of merging into the existence of the Supreme, into Brahma Jyoti. So that liberation is technically it is called liberation, but actually it is not real liberation. Why? Because one who attains Sayujya Mukti can go to the spiritual sky, but he cannot enter the spiritual planets, which is the real permanent place of residence for those who want to go to the spiritual world. It's like somebody comes to Mysore. Unless they have some proper place to stay, they come for some work, they have to go back from wherever they came. They cannot, stay overnight or sleep, or they're not possible unless there's some place for staying. They have entry into some particular house or hotel or some temple. Until then, they don't have. So these jnanis who merge into the existence of the Supreme, into the Brahma Jyoti, they go to the spiritual sky and they are very excited about it. They don't have entry into the spiritual planets. So what happens? After some time they have to come back to the material world, because they cannot stay there. So Bhagavatam says they fall down. Aruhya krichrena param padam tataha patanti adaha anadruta yushmadangrayaha. Those who fail to take shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna, they have to come back to the material world. So therefore, Sayujya Mukti is never desired or never accepted by the devotees. It's only the jnanis and the yogis who accept this Sayujya Mukti, if they are interested in Mukti. The jnanis and the yogis. Have you ever thought why the yogis cannot enter into the spiritual planets? Because they know the Supreme Absolute Truth as Paramatma. Why? Karunya. Practical devotional service, they are not conversant, they don't know about it, they are ignorant. Yes, that's the reason they can't enter the spiritual planets. Desire is not there because they don't know about it. If you don't know, then what can you have? Okay. But why they can't enter the spiritual planets? In fact, of knowing the absolute truth as the Paramatma. Paramatma, after all, is four-handed Vishnu in the heart. And that Vishnu is situated as Narayana in Vaikuntha. Vishnu in the material world, what is the identity of Vishnu in the material world? Vishnu, identity means in the spiritual world, what is he? He is Narayana. Correct? So why they can't go to Narayana when they know Vishnu as Paramatma in the material world? You know means they have realized, not that they know just like reading some theoretical knowledge. No, they have realized. He is present in everybody's heart. And they have meditated on that form, four-handed form, exactly as described in the scriptures. We are talking of a real yogi, not a bogus yogi. So he's done meditation, he has realized, he's able to see the presence of Paramatma in everybody's heart. That's a realized yogi. And he is even situated in Samadhi. That's a perfection of Ashtanga Yoga. He is absorbed in thought of that Paramatma who is situated in everybody's heart. The real Paramatma. That is Samadhi. So even though he is in Samadhi, and because he is in Samadhi, when he quits the body, where does he go? He goes to the spiritual sky. He is promoted to the spiritual world. He doesn't remain in the material world. Unless he has a desire for some material enjoyment. If he is completely free from all material enjoyment, desires for material enjoyment, then he is awarded liberation and he is eligible to be elevated to the spiritual world. But where does he go? His destination is not the abode of Vishnu. It's not the abode of Vishnu. Why? He's not developed bhakti. But why that bhakti is linked up with the permission to, or the ability to go to the spiritual planet of Vishnu, Vishnu Loka. What is the defect or what is lacking in Paramatma realization? Can you tell me? That's exactly what I want to know. That is not the real thing. The relationship is not developed, okay. But what does it mean to realize Paramatma? Paramatma, after all, is present in the heart as Super Soul, who is four-handed. Who's four-handed? Form. Is it a spiritual form? Is Paramatma's form spiritual form or material form? Huh? Spiritual form? Yes? Spiritual form? Yes. That means one who has realized Paramatma has realized spiritual form of the absolute truth. Is it correct? No, not necessary. One who meditates on the conceived form of Paramatma in the heart, he is conceiving a form, because in the beginning of Ashtanga Yoga, they are not able to see Paramatma. Wait. Let me go step by step. One who is conceiving a form, it is not the actual spiritual form. It's the description. He has heard, read, he has understood, he has learnt how to conceive from his Guru, who's realized only he can teach. Ashtanga Yoga Guru, who's realized Paramatma. He can teach how to conceive Paramatma. Others will teach focus on red light and black dot and all kinds of rubbish. That is not real meditation. Real meditation is conceiving the form of Paramatma and then meditating. So he'll meditate. As he progresses in meditation, then he is able to fix his mind completely on that conceived form. Then when he is fully purified, then the Lord reveals himself within the heart as the super soul. When the Lord reveals, what does the Lord reveal? That depends on what his conception of the absolute truth is. If his Guru is an impersonalist yogi, the Guru will describe or reveal the absolute truth as impersonal Brahman. Because in the spiritual world, the absolute truth is present as Brahman, which is Brahma Jyoti, and Bhagavan. There is no manifestation of the Paramatma feature in the spiritual world. This is a very, very important point that Prabhupada reveals in the Bhagavad Gita. Very, very important point. This is the reason. Even the Paramatma manifestation in the material world is a temporary manifestation and not an eternal manifestation in the spiritual world. So, one who realizes the Paramatma, they know that Paramatma feature is in the material world. What is the corresponding manifestation in the spiritual world? Because Paramatma doesn't, that manifestation is not there of Paramatma in the spiritual world. So either their understanding is this Paramatma in the heart is Brahman in the spiritual world, or this Paramatma in the heart is Narayana in the spiritual world. You understand? The eternal manifestation in the spiritual world is either Brahman or Bhagavan. There is no manifestation in the spiritual world of the Paramatma as Anoraniyamsam, as the super soul who has entered into the heart of every living being in the material world and is so small, inconceivably small, achintya rupam. inconceivable form. That form is inconceivable. Even for those who have realized the Super Soul, it is an inconceivable form. So please understand, unless one is a devotee, one doesn't know that the Paramatma manifestation of the heart is Bhagavan in the spiritual world, who is the source of Brahman, who is the source of Paramatma, the source of everything. That's why it is said here, Bhuta Bhavana Bhavanaha. Shukadeva Goswami is describing who is Khatvanga Maharaj, who knows the supreme absolute truth as Bhuta Bhavana, the ultimate source of everything, the creator of everything in the existence, in the cosmic manifestation, the creator of the spiritual world, the material world. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate. This is what the devotees know the supreme absolute truth as, Krishna as. So Bhuta Bhavana is the supreme personality of Godhead. Arjuna addresses the Supreme Lord in 11th chapter as Bhuta Bhavana Bhutesha Deva Deva Jagatpate. Arjuna's realization in the 10th chapter that Krishna is not just any of the material conceptions that people may have. Krishna is not just Brahman, Krishna is Parabrahman. Krishna is not just Parabrahman in terms of the spiritual effulgence of Brahma Jyoti, but Krishna is the source of Brahma Jyoti. Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan, Purusham. He is the supreme personality who is the source of even the Brahman. And who is the source of Paramatma, the source of everything. So that realization Arjuna is expressing when in the 11th chapter he addresses Krishna as Bhuta Bhavana. So that Bhuta Bhavana means the supreme personality of Godhead is actually the creator of everything, the ultimate source of everything. So that Supreme Lord, when he is absorbed in, what interest will he have in this inferior creation of the Lord? Krishna only has created this material world. These demigods, they are offering some benedictions. That is because Krishna has given them some power to give some benediction to people who are unintelligently thinking of settling down in this material world with some nice facility for material enjoyment. So for less intelligent people, Krishna has made an arrangement that these devatas are given some powers, they may give some material benediction. But a devotee who knows Krishna is the creator, Krishna is the one who is empowering all the demigods, why will he go and ask Krishna or any demigod for any material benefit? He will never ask. So therefore, it is justified that what his thinking is, his Khatvanga Maharaj's thinking is that of a pure devotee. Once we understand he is a pure devotee, very easy to understand why he didn't take any benediction. Simply immediately left the place and came back. But his thinking was in a less than a moment. He thought, this is all useless, what these people are offering. My interest is something else. Whatever little time is left, I simply should absorb myself in the thought of the Supreme Lord. Now, this does not mean that when he was fighting the battle, he was not thinking of the Supreme Lord. What does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna? Arjuna is also a fighter, a warrior, a Kshatriya. So what is the consciousness of Arjuna even while fighting? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. So a devotee, whatever activities he may do in the material world, his background consciousness is always Krishna consciousness. So even his so-called material activities or material duties are performed in Krishna consciousness, therefore they are not material, they are spiritual. They are completely spiritual activities. So Khatvanga Maharaj need not have to leave that place and come back and fix his mind on the Supreme Lord. He is doing that for teaching us. What should you be doing before death comes? You should become Krishna conscious before death comes. Then only your life is successful in going back to God. Otherwise, you cannot. You cannot achieve success simply by externally doing some so-called spiritual activities. But inside your heart, inside your consciousness, you are not Krishna conscious. This is a mistake that Sahajiyas do. Externally they want to imitate a devotee, but their heart is full of material desires. That is not effective. So, externally doing the activities is for bringing about a change of consciousness. And when the consciousness changes and you become fully Krishna conscious, you have attained the perfection. Not that you have to wait till death comes, you have to wait, and at the time of death I am fully absorbed in Krishna. No, that is not the idea. Even before death comes, become fully absorbed in thought of Krishna. Therefore Krishna says, Manmana, think always of me. And that was what Khatvanga Maharaj was doing. Always thinking of the Supreme Lord, while simultaneously being engaged in different activities as required. So that is the secret of Krishna consciousness that is being revealed here. I'll stop here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.